In this activity, we're going to create a function and a procedure. We're going to start with the function because the procedure needs it to do its job. So this function is a user-defined function, which we've not done before. So this function is a user-defined function, and I'm going to put the comments over here so I can start working on it. So the first thing I need to do is set Management Studio to use Purple Box, and you go ahead and do this along with me so you'll have a completed version of this. And drop the following function if it exists. Now this is just like we do with when we drop a database or drop a table or drop a procedure. It's just drop function if exists. If you're using an older version of Management Studio, you'll have to do an if statement. And here we need to give it a name. So let's find out what the function does so we know how to name it. Create a user-defined function that returns one ID of a movie item that is currently available for rent. So when somebody wants to rent a movie, they'll specify what movie and what type, whether they want a Blu-ray or a DVD. And this function will actually go look for a movie item that's available and return that movie item ID so it can be rented. So it needs to be one that's available. So I'm just going to call this get available movie ID. And that will be the name of the function. Now we want to create a function. And so we'll just use the commands, create function. Now how is a function different than a procedure? Well, the difference is that a function returns a value, and that's part of what it does, or where a procedure does not necessarily return a value. But functions do, by definition, return a function. They still have parameters that we can send them, so we can get in the parentheses, we can put the parameters, and we want to define those as variables, as parameters. So we're going to be we need the movie ID, and that's an int. Remember, you always have to put the name that starts with an @ and the type. And we need the type. So we need movie ID and the type is a char. So those are the two values that we need to be able to do this, and then we want to specify what it's going to return. Well, it returns, and you do this with a plural, it says that what this function is going to return. So it's going to return a movie item ID, and that is of type int. So we just tell it what it's going to return, what type. And then we say as, and here's where we begin defining it. And now to do all of the things that we're going to do in here, this is a little bit different than a procedure. We need to have a begin and an end that identifies both the beginning and the ending of this user-defined function. Now notice how we're getting red squiggly lines under the name of the function and on the end command, and if you hover over it, it says the last statement included within a function must be a return statement. So here we have this fundamental requirement that it must return something. So I'm going to go ahead and add in here, and it needs to return an int, so I'm just going to pick a return 0 for now. And that just gets rid of it and makes it so that the function is set up and has all the components that it needs. These are the bare bones requirements for a function. A name, what the parameters are, what things are going to be sent to it, what type it's going to return, and then as, begin, end, and it actually returns a value. Now we have the skeleton of a function set up.